Welcome to the Tuck Shop. This edition coming from the Disruptive Live studios in association with growthbusiness.co.uk. Thanks for tuning in. It's Valentine's Day. This is exciting because we've got vaguely Valentine-y type stuff.
We've got milk tray.
Yeah, we're not supposed to say brands.
Okay.
We get in trouble for that. It's chocolates with that aren't suitable for vegans in a tray-like formation. Anyway, look, joining us on today's show, we've got Hannah from Doteveryone, we've got Sonya from Like-Minded Females, and also Kat from Harvey Nash. Hello, how you doing?
Good.
Everyone good?
Yeah.
On today's show, we're going to talk about, four subjects as always, rather. Facebook, having a bit of a mare. We're also going to talk a bit about a press release, or not a press release, but an article from Doteveryone, as well as some news on Mobile World Congress, which has been cancelled due to coronavirus, and Samsung have a new phone out. So, before we do any of that, do you want to dive in with some sweets or some chocolate, Hannah?
Well, we can have some.
You can, of course you can. People rarely eat on this. It's kind of like we call it the Tuck Shop, and then no one ever has anything.
Okay.
I quite like the fact, by the way, that there's a love heart there that just says always, which I genuinely think is quite low key creepy.
Yeah, 100%. And
Yeah.
I just ate one that said sorry.
Yeah. So what are you going for? Milk tray?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. It's probably going to take quite a while to read out all the flavours.
I've just done truffle heart. It's good for me.
Yeah, I'm just going to go for a perfect praline.
So you were taking the piss before we went on air saying that milk tray doesn't say romance, but everyone's going for it.
Yeah, because
It's free
good
chocolate.
Oh, okay, fair enough. So
I swear you're not allowed to say brands.
All right, whilst you're grabbing that, yes, Facebook. Facebook, we were supposed to be introducing a new feature the day before Valentine's Day. They've been trailing this rollout of a kind of a Tinder encroaching style app. Or feature on the website anyway. And Ireland have gone and said no. This is all a bit bizarre. Facebook apparently didn't tell the Irish that they were rolling this feature out in Europe until the 3rd of February, the idea being that it was going to go live on the 13th. And the EU have therefore, I don't know whether it's swiped left or right, but they've blocked it. Left. You can tell that I don't use Tinder, for obvious reasons. Hi, Hayley. So they've gone and blocked that. Bit weird from Facebook not to kind of give them a bit more notice than 10 days.
I know.
Like, what?
I mean, is it weird though?
Yes, it is weird. They've been rolling this out in various countries since 2018.
I'm glad it's blocked.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
Why?
One, we don't need more excessive dating apps, and two, we don't need another way that Facebook can take our data and use it against us.
I mean, what were we saying before about Married at First Sight?
Yeah, no, I did have a proper think about this. Have you seen Married at First Sight?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this idea that scientists can come in and look at your perfect match, and then there was an American series where, I think it was the second series, Jamie and Doug, Jamie the bride has a proper meltdown, like how on earth have I been matched with this man? And now they're like Instagram personalities because they've been together for like 5 years and have a family.
But they're a
and whatever
one-off.
else. Yes, most of the
Majority
time
of them
it goes
actually
wrong.
ends in divorce, so it goes wrong.
Yes.
But that's also not them being set up and using an app which is deliberately designed, well, Tinder is at least, designed to keep you on the app. They don't want you to go. So even if you're having dates, like their mission statement is to make being single fun. They don't want to hook you up.
Yeah,
and
but Facebook
ship
wouldn't
you
care,
off.
would it?
No.
Facebook can keep you on the whole journey.
Yeah, but then, okay, so on that point, what does Facebook care about?
Keeping you on the app
Yeah.
of some kind.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like I'm glad it's blocked because I personally have fell out of love with Facebook, and I just think that I don't understand their kind of like mission or the value add they're now giving through the technology platforms that they're sending.
I got a new phone 2 weeks ago and I haven't bothered to reinstall it.
I haven't had Facebook for 5 years.
I hardly use it.
Yeah.
But we all do use WhatsApp and we all do use Instagram. And it did strike to me, the Married at First Sight thing was kind of like, hang on a minute, using natural language processing, they could kind of look at how you like to talk to the people that you like. They know who you follow on Instagram. They've got like years worth of data on you on Facebook. Like, they could probably come up with some scarily accurate matches for people that you should be with.
So you think
I just don't trust that though.
It's probably better than Married at First Sight. They should
Yeah.
do like a Married at First Sight with like experts versus Facebook and see which relationships.
You're just giving them ideas right now. There's someone watching this who's going to go take this away and commercialise what you've just said.
It's like Gary Kasparov versus DeepMind or whatever, but like for dating.
But you've got to think, what do Facebook want to achieve? They don't want to marry people off. They just all they want is to find out more about you.
Yeah, that's it. And that goes back to the point of yes, we use Instagram, we use WhatsApp, but actually now the point being that Facebook owns such a high proportion of what we are using every day that as a user you can just try and limit how much data you're giving to them, but it's really difficult to not use Instagram and WhatsApp when you think about the other bits and bobs out there. And also I personally have a really love-hate relationship with Facebook because they blocked our business account.
Did they?
Yes. Not sure why. We had like 100 likes, honestly. We're not anything but just a normal business account. But
Were
it's
you
linked.
continuously having a go at them?
No, I wasn't. But I didn't use it, so it's never under my name. Like I said, I haven't had Facebook 5 years. But the problem being because Facebook then therefore was linked to our old Instagram, we were unable to sync it. So I spent 9 months trying to find someone's email, phone, contact them, showed up at their head office. No one can talk to you. And so we've now, due to that connectivity, lost an Instagram of 3,000 followers and had to make a new one and take people there. That's why we did it. It's because Facebook blocked our business page and our account, and you can't actually get in contact with them.
It shows the disparity in power between the platforms and yourself.
But that's it, and there's no customer service. So let's pretend this Tinder-like app came out, and I want to therefore delete my profile, I want to get rid of it, or I don't want my data to be used. I can in no way actually contact Facebook to ever do that. So I know from first-hand experience that it's an easy way of doing things, but from a consumer perspective, there's no real customer care or service. And I hope they're listening to this, they can reactivate my business page.
Well, hopefully some people are listening to this, maybe not Facebook, but if you are and you have a view on this, you can comment, and I will try and remember to intersperse that into the show as we go. It is kind of full circle though, if you kind of go back to the social network, like the whole reason for Facebook was, or supposedly the whole reason for Facebook was to find out who was dating who on campus. So it's kind of weirdly cyclical, except now instead of students, it's your mum who posts memes of Richard Gere.
Yeah. Oh, your mum.
Not my mum. My mother-in-law.
That's very precise.
I was going to say my mum's probably watching this, and she's been blocked from Facebook multiple times, them thinking she's a fake person.
Really?
Yeah. Don't know what she's doing wrong.
How do you appear fake?
How do you get unblocked? It's really my question.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe if she's online, she can comment.
Okay. Hannah's mum, if you're watching, please do comment. No, right. So generally, broadly speaking, we're happy that the Irish have said no to Facebook.
Yeah,
and
So will they eventually, like, it's to do with them having not given enough advance warning and them not having prepared enough assessment of around privacy.
The article in TechCrunch certainly gives you the impression that the Irish have done this just to be a pain in the arse and have a bit of fun. I mean, there is an element of that. Obviously, they also want the proper legal paperwork and they're worried about privacy. But I also get the sense that they're just kind of having fun, that they're blocking Facebook.
Being a pain in the arse. I would be pissed off as the Irish regulator that they only gave 10 days notice. Yeah. And then, it questions in the article, is it careless oversight or an intentional fuck you from Facebook to say, oh, we don't really care about,
We can do it anyway.
Yeah, we can do what we want. And that, I feel like, I don't know whether it's necessarily that. I think it is a bit of an internal them being just not thinking about it, and it's on the bottom of their priority list. But
then from a consumer, you're thinking about tech companies. We're going into this day and age where people are thinking more about tech for good, social impact, social enterprise. What are these companies doing to a newer generation? It's like, well, actually, is it that Facebook think they have so much power that they don't have to give so much notice? On the flip side, that personally, I don't think a lot of people would be okay with, because it means, are these the companies that are now ruling the world who think they have so much power they don't have to ask?
Yeah. But it's also with regulations always following the companies themselves. So companies innovate and then regulations coming behind. So they're just used to doing what they want. Yeah.
That is a nice segue into the next article. Bit of a legal lag. Let's talk about the gig economy. Let's move on to the report published by your very own company, Doteveryone. So you should be the expert on this.
I should be.
Not to put you on the spot.
We published we've been doing research over the last 6 months or so on the gig economy and looking, this is the report that we published a few weeks ago, Best Work in the Gig Economy. Basically, what we're focusing really on the people that are most disadvantaged by gig work. We recognise that there are a lot of people that benefit from it, you know, the freedom and the flexibility, the ability to be your own boss. But we also, through speaking through the people that are most disadvantaged, we found that three key things really, that they are the fundamentally the low pay of the app, or the low pay and leading to financial insecurity. So that's around, and we proposed there being a minimum gig wage. So essentially, like, even there are a lot of unaccounted costs when you're doing gig work. So like time spent between gigs is unpaid. PRing your account and things to get more work is like unpaid. We heard from somebody who was saying like competition, so like people who are on a cleaning app, they would throw in freebies in order to sort of like beat their competitors, so they'd clean an oven for free.
On the point of the low pay, I did think it was interesting. You had one quote in there that said, "I do not have the time to improve my skills because the number one priority is earning enough to survive and be comfortable." And a lot of people talking about getting caught in quicksand in this, which is, I think, a really interesting point, because everyone talks up the notion that you've got flexibility through gig work, and that gives you the ability to continuously learn and do side hustles or whatever else, but actually that's not the case in many circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, we recognise, like, so we had when we published the report, we had a fair amount of people there was a lot of angry freelancers in California, because I don't know whether you know about the AB5, the regulation around that freelancers should be given, should have like holiday pay and sick pay, and basically giving more safety nets to people who are like gig working. But like, that's okay, but it's also, I'm not quite sure or clued up on it, but a lot of freelancers are saying it's negatively impacting their business, as in their ability to get work. I'm not quite sure how, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but it is a little bit like there needs to be regulation and security for gig workers, but whether like that there have been unintended consequences from that.
I did find it really interesting that one of the things that was spoken about, certainly at the press conference, was the role of automation. Automation is obviously coming, whether you like it or not. Autonomous vehicles may well displace a lot of people who rely on jobs as Uber drivers. And there was this suggestion that, you know, the company should do something to help train and reskill these people. And I can't help but feel, and maybe this is really cynical, the jobs that are going to be created are going to be highly skilled jobs that probably aren't, unfortunately, going to be suitable for someone who's driving one of the taxis without massive investment in that person to get them to kind of go from I'm driving a taxi to I can code, because quite frankly, I can't, who can, it must take months, well, it does take months to learn to code, right? And where is the incentive for a company like an Uber or, I don't know, a Deliveroo to invest that kind of level of resource in an individual that they don't necessarily need? And it was like, oh yeah, but we've got to kind of encourage these companies to invest. It's like, why? They're not going to. That's not how free market economics works. You either subscribe to free market economics or you don't.
It's a challenge, right? Like, so we're, as a think tank, we want more people building tech and like tech companies to be more responsible with how they, so be thinking about and building tech that doesn't have negative consequences on people and society. But it isn't an immediate priority from a kind of commercial point of view for them, because it's very hard to convince. Well, it's about saying that you're like basically you're going to be building a more sustainable business by investing in thinking about the unintended consequences that could come down further down the line. If Facebook, I mean, I know they've built a massive company, but like you're already rejecting it. And there's like a backlash against that, and it's only going to, with the more like, there has been a tech clash. So I think but the momentum around it is building for more companies to think, oh, I should be more responsible. But there's still a little bit of a difficulty in overcoming the commercial interest.
So one of the difficulties, so I do a lot of kind of diversity inclusion work and sustainability work. One of the difficulties is the fact that in today's generation or generation of work, there are 4 or 5 generations now coming into one. And so they're being displaced and there's no common goal or common value system, because from a generational perspective, Gen Z, they want ethics, they want sustainability, they want long-term use, they want values. Those who are kind of leading the senior positions right now, they are more frugal, and they want kind of like money, and they want to think about, now they're thinking about their retirement. So really it's a little bit more around personal gains that they're gaining from the business at that time. And so the point being, the points that you've made, yes, companies are not thinking about the future, but the truth is, if they're not thinking about the future, then one, they are going to lose out in profit and revenue. Two, they are going to be disrupted by the new disruptive technology-based companies that are coming up and growing into the ecosystem. And three, it's not just companies, it's communities. There are so many communities forming now, you know, in the UK as an example, because they think we can do the job that you can do, but we can do it in a different way, which is all community and kind of fundamentally people-led. But then when you go even deeper than that, do companies have a fundamental right to uptrain and upskill? Yes, no, that's not why you go and work somewhere. But if we're talking about automation, the stats around automation are something like in 2025, there'll be 50 million new jobs. And in the next 5 years, the skills that people will need to progress are not technical, because automation, machine learning will take over. It'll be more critical thinking, problem solving, kind of the communication skills. And those softer skills, companies are still not acknowledging they require. So there's a lot more than just...
It's the thing that worries me about the whole thing. Yeah, we're going to create a lot of jobs, but there's no bridge to get someone from job A to
there's no
job
upskilling.
Z.
There's no upskilling, and fundamentally, that's not just in companies, that's even in the education system. There's no upskilling from jumping from university to work and then work to XYZ job. And so upskilling is a massive requirement in this new day and age.
One other point that the report made that I thought was really valuable, a lot of gig workers feel like robots. They wish that they didn't. Do you tip delivery drivers? Riders?
Not all the time, but if there's like bad weather or something, then I do. I just feel hot. I mean, you're like making them cycle in the rain and stuff, and it's just because you're being lazy.
Anyone else tip or not tip?
Yeah.
I generally tip, not because I'm thinking of the individual. I'll be perfectly honest. I kind of like to stick a £2 or £3 tip on, because I think it'll mean that the food will get there quicker, which is probably absolute rubbish. But the report did say tipping makes a big difference.
We've developed like a prototype, or an alternative speculative prototype delivery service for avocados called Avocargo. And we've got a post coming out about it and going in with more detail coming out soon. But one of the things in there is like the ability to tip, but into the workers' like personal. So say they're like, it's almost like crowdfunding for skills for the future. So like if they're working towards getting a degree or something, putting money in to help finance that. That was one suggestion we've got in that speculative app around what a better gig work could look like.
Okay, we've had two meaty subjects, so we're going to move on to the final two articles. The last one should be quite quick. We'll tackle GSMA, though, cancelling Mobile World Congress first due to coronavirus. Mobile World Congress was due to be 24th to 27th of February. 100,000 people go to Barcelona every single year, and they have had to pull the plug due to coronavirus. Actually, in the last episode of the Tuck Shop, we were trying to find a tech angle. Here it is. Yeah, but over the past few days, dozens of big names announced they would skip this year's show. LG first announced that they wouldn't attend the trade show, citing safety concerns related to coronavirus. Then Nvidia and Ericsson followed suit. The GSMA lawyers wanted to make sure that the association wouldn't be held accountable if there was a single case of coronavirus at the show. So they have started the other virus, basically, of companies pulling out one by one. Bit of a... I mean, that's quite big news, because that is one of the massive fixtures on the technology calendar. Yeah.
It's in Barcelona, right?
It is.
And I was reading this article about it, and somebody commented at the bottom, well, there's only been like 2 cases of coronavirus in Barcelona. And it's like, but all of the people that come from across the world to this event.
One of the other comments was almost all hotels had to be prepaid in advance without MWC refunding. So if you bargain hunt, now's the time.
Let's go to Barcelona.
quite
Everyone.
cynical
Off to
kind of way of looking
Barcelona.
at it. But there is, with the coronavirus, like Australia, their tourism's down. Maybe it's time to go. The Maldives have banned 33% of their annual tourists. So if you want a cheap holiday to the Maldives, possibly now is the time to go. Not saying, make hay while the sun shines, but obviously should be more serious about it than that. But
what I thought was really interesting about this is like, if you're at the Mobile World Congress, you're about telecommunications, right?
yes.
Can you not do and cancel it and go, let's try and do it a bit more innovatively and do a telecommunications version? Like use what we're trying to.
Yeah. That's one of the things I thought is like you've literally cancelled like a 2 or 3 day event for people. Actually, there's many people who would have wanted to come for personal reasons, for professional development, for upskilling, and just to meet. Can you not try and do something which is mini over a day, but be like, well, you've booked a conference, you've booked an exhibition, you've booked a speaking slot, here's an hour each, and let's just everyone jump online and just see what we can do around it.
I'd be quite worried if I was GSMA because, increasingly most of the big announcements in telecoms don't happen at GSMA. They used to happen at Mobile World Congress. But the next article is all about Samsung. They launched their phone a few days beforehand in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So the phones don't get launched there anymore. It's like, if people don't go this year and they don't miss it, they might be terrified. Like, hang on a minute, are we going to get the people back if they don't go this year? And it's like, oh, we didn't really miss out on anything.
And by the sounds of it, the big companies pulled out fairly quickly, and so it wasn't like a big trade-off. Like, should we go? Shouldn't we go? It's all like, let's.
Yeah, we'll just skip it.
Yeah.
But it is a concern, right? If the companies shouldn't be sending people all around the world right now. They've got to kind of think, hang on a minute, is this a sensible thing to be doing with our employees? I mean, if Harvey Nash wanted to send you to Vietnam right now,
Probably wouldn't go. But
probably would actually.
yeah, probably would.
But
Okay.
it's like the poor cruise ship, that had that hasn't been allowed into any country.
They
And
must
now
be
they've just
going
gone in.
crazy.
Yeah, but this morning they were like, actually, they do have over 200 people who have coronavirus now, or something absurd number of theirs been quarantined. But again, they were just stuck in a cruise ship and they weren't allowed to get off anywhere.
It's
So
kinda like
only
making your
Cambodia
kids-
has been allowed to go on.
It's kind of like making
They've
your
only
kids
gone
get in bed with the kid who's got chickenpox.
One of the
Sorry.
one of the sort of like in China, I've heard about this sort of like they're doing more sort of more working from home and things like using communications like. And there's this. Relating back to gig economy, there's this massive platform in China called Meituan. I don't know how to say it. It's like a local life service platform, so it's like Uber plus Deliveroo plus everything all in one. And they've started doing sort of contactless food delivery, so they leave food in a specific destination in order to avoid, contact and the spread of.
Wow.
Yeah, just.
Do you know what's wild about this? People are still ordering food. They're like, no matter what happens, we still want our chicken takeaway, and we want it despite everything.
But before we move on, should we spare a thought for poor Milton Keynes? Why is it that they've all been sent to Milton Keynes? What does it say about Milton Keynes?
Who's been sent to Milton Keynes?
All of the people who've been quarantined back in the UK are all getting sent to Milton
Nothing good
Keynes.
happens in Milton Keynes.
If anyone's watching from Milton Keynes, really sorry.
No, we're not.
Okay, right. Last article. Samsung launch a Galaxy S20 range with a 100 times zoom camera.
No one needs to zoom that much. That's creepy.
Yeah,
that's equivalent to Always and Sorry being on this suite. Like, that's creepy.
that is.
There is no need.
Yeah, I know. I was kind of like, why? Like, who zooms that much? And
Not
why?
me.
One building to the other.
Yeah.
That's or to the planets. I just think it's, and don't you just think that like phone companies are really doing nothing brand new?
Yeah, this is exactly why I brought it up. I mean, the world's largest smartphone manufacturer unveiled the device at San Francisco on Tuesday, hoping that fast screens, an overhauled camera system, and a spread of sizes will be enough to lift sales and beat rivals with Apple and Huawei.
No
There's nothing different.
Why didn't they try and sell more phones by being a bit more responsible? Like the fact that,
Responsible phones?
yeah, there's a Fairphone, and it's a modular phone, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So technology, the way technology is made now, especially smartphones, like earbuds and all that. It's really difficult to like, if it's broken, it's difficult to take it apart and like get the relevant bits out.
Right.
And we've got
it's so expensive.
yeah,
as well.
but like we've got a finite number of elements in the world, and like 30 of the 90 elements there are in phones, and they're running out. Like, so why are we encouraging more people to just replace a phone that's perfectly good?
Well, we're not encouraging. Well, hang on. When we say we're encouraging, it's all the smartphone manufacturers whose batteries all baits in and all die within 2 years.
Yeah, exactly.
And even like cheaper phones. So I have a Huawei phone. Can I say that? I've said it now actually.
Why?
I
Also,
don't know if you can say brands.
It's
or
not a sweet.
I'm trying to understand. So, anyways, obviously, great phone, awesome camera, does what it needs to do.
Cheap alternatives.
Okay, no, but they're a cheaper phone to buy. But you know, I'm one of those people that I broke the screen like within the first 6 months. The screen itself is 80% of a price of a new phone.
Yeah.
To replace. It was £250 or something to replace my screen, because, like you said, they're not the same way they made, so that people are clumsy. You know you're going to break it, and they're like, well, what's the alternative way to make money?
But companies should be more responsible in like not encouraging us to buy more and more phones, because they're like I say, like there's only limited number. They require certain elements that are running out, and there's something like 1.5 million phones bought every 1.5 million phone upgrades a month in the UK.
Yeah,
that's insane.
That is huge.
And also the stats show that more people have a phone in the world now than they do have access to education.
Although that said, you could argue that a smartphone gives people access to education.
If you know, yes, but if you are from a place where you haven't been educated to be educated, and you don't necessarily even understand it, no one's really teaching you, and you don't really understand the language of certain other things, it's a bit difficult. But just the point that there's more phones in the world than there are people.
I mean, I know I said I just upgraded my phone. I upgraded from a Huawei to a OnePlus, which is a cheaper alternative, and it was because I smashed my screen, and I've put up with it for 2 years.
Did you know how much it would be to repair?
Yeah, I had a look early on, and I was like, actually, no, I've been a knobhead. I got drunk and dropped my phone within 3 months of it. I'm going to punish myself by putting up with it till the end of the contract.
But I went to a conference earlier this week, and I took my phone. I was like, do you know what? I just want to go back to a life where I have a really basic, simple phone where people can WhatsApp me.
One of my friends tried that. Didn't last.
But also, when you try and run your business on your personal phone, it's a lot. So it might be a good alternative to go to a basic phone and then just to take a nice camera so you can take pictures whilst you're there, and just try and live a simpler life. Because the point is, when you have a smartphone, then you have all the extra space on the phone, you have all the apps, you have the notifications, it makes you crazy.
If we're not being responsible for a second, just, flight of fancy, all these similar looking black touchscreen rectangles, if there was going to be a piece of innovation that did actually excite you and make you go, oh, hang on a minute, I am going to get a new phone, any ideas what it might be?
VR.
A VR phone.
VR in the phone, but it's like the way that you can look at screen and you have goggles on.
So Google Glass.
VR, but in a phone.
Right. Okay.
Tech for tech's sake is just not what I want.
I knew you'd love this.
And I think the fact that what you're saying is like, oh, we should be changing our behaviour. No, the tech companies should be making it like simpler, like less addictive for us.
But do you know, on the flip side, I think that if we start taking these smaller steps, I'm not saying we by any means, but if we start and it starts affecting them in the metrics that they really value, i.e. money, profit, share, then they will have to change their behaviour. It's the same as right now in terms of like us as individuals, 47% of us are side hustlers. There's a gig on economy. We are changing our behaviour to say, actually, we can be intrapreneurs or entrepreneurs, or we don't need to work for you, we can work for ourselves. And so now companies are like, we're going to lose people, and so we need to change what we're doing internally.
I do love how optimistic you are about people en masse.
I am all for community and unity coming together. I think together we can truly create like a revolution and a difference. And yeah, I'm definitely for the people.
Just need to get everyone on board.
Any ideas, please leave below.
Please tell me how I can get you guys on board.
Look, I think that brings us to the end of today's show. Thank you very much for joining us. We haven't eaten anything, so we'll have to eat stuff in a moment.
I felt really awkward eating a chocolate on camera.
Yeah,
I tried and
I will dive into the Ferrero Rocher in a
Yeah.
second. Thank you for tuning into the Tuck Shop. Please do subscribe, rate, like, do any of the things that Ryder told me to tell you to do before we went on air, and now I can't remember. But yeah, any platform you're on, subscribe, like, share. That'd be perfect. And thank you for tuning in.